there's an image that is portrayed of the central nervous system, that it's something that's too complicated to look at. And then there's also this image, I think everybody who's heard the name, the blood-brain barrier, it presents a particular image. And all of the images of the brain, and they really do not make sense. I haven't got time to go through it now, but how it's explained of it all working, it is impossible for it to work that way. So I'm not saying the way I'm saying it is true, but it does make sense. It could work that way, and for me it's most likely that that is the way that it works. And the interesting thing for me is if you hold it in that old light where everything is separate, the cranial fluids that are exactly the same fluid are separated. The rest of the body is totally isolated from the brain and the central nervous system. The brain is separate to the cranial fluid. And then on top of that you have the word, the blood-brain barrier. This produces an image that stops people being able to view that whole system. And when you can't view it, you can't be aware of the higher centers, the intellect, the higher energies, because the anatomy of that system represents the intellect, represents the creativity, represents our connection to the higher self. The anatomy represents that, and then that comes through in the energetic form. If you're given the wrong model of that stops you viewing it, then your whole evolution in that area is hampered. And just by viewing it anatomically in the way that I've described, suddenly you can view inside your own brain. Suddenly you have a way of working with it. Suddenly it starts working. So I couldn't understand for ages how the scientists were looking at it in the way they were looking at it. And I can't go into it, but it just doesn't make sense. Because it really doesn't make sense. And then I kind of got it. Because if you look at it in that way, you don't have to evolve. You can stay safe. You don't have to move into meditation. You don't have to view your own intellect. You don't have to connect to the higher self. As soon as you connect to it, as soon as you view it in the way that it is and what it is, and I've just shown it in its most simple forms of water and not divided, suddenly you can view it, suddenly it starts being activated. Suddenly you've got a connection to the higher self. Suddenly you've got a way of and also that brain cells, that's it, if they get injured they can never mend. This is rubbish. It's not even true. They can mend. So there's all these images that don't mess with that area. But if you have the anatomy and anatomy that works, suddenly, without even having to try, your evolution can start. So for me this group was of Shemaine. To the main part, people were shown an image that they can let go of, and shown an image that they can use and move into a different area, let go of the old. Whether you want to or not is a different thing.